Yeah, actually there was something else I needed to talk about. During, just after the proceedings yesterday, at some point, Ezra shared a video from inside the court building, looking down at the crowd, of Tommy. Now, this Lizzie Dearden, dear old Lizzie Tizzy Dearden from The Independent, the indescribably boring Independent, and the indescribably far left, ultra far left Independent, she was filled with glee and joy to be able to say that that's been referred to the police as a matter of whether it's contempt of court, because this is exactly the case that they got him for in Canterbury. Let me just explain Canterbury a little bit better so you understand what happened there. Tommy did some dumb stuff with regard to his anger about the fact that defendants who had unbelievably solid evidence against them in terms of DNA for raping a child were allowed to carry on in their normal place of business, the place of business where they had raped the child, on bail while the court case was proceeding. Now, Tommy's been remanded for the most ridiculous stuff. Remanded means you're arrested for a trial and you're not given bail. That's happened to Tommy many times because they say he's a threat to society. Whereas 5 Muslim men who own a restaurant where they raped, they've been found guilty and are serving long sentences now. 5 Muslim men who have raped a child in their shop are not a danger to society and can carry on operating their shop. That was what Tommy was angry about. Now, he did things outside the court that are not in the book of what journalists should do when reporting on a case. But when it came to actually finding him guilty of something, the judge in that case, a woman judge, the one who had granted bail to these 5 child rapists to allow them to live in the community where they had committed their child rape for the duration of the court proceedings against them, that same woman, judge, she couldn't, you can read this from the proceedings, even though you'd think Tommy had committed some kind of contempt of court with what he said, that was not the grounds on which he was convicted. He was convicted based on a 1921, 20-something law that says no photography within or on court precincts. It's a very archaic, it's archaic. I mean, it's the reason why we don't have pictures from inside courtrooms except when the judges allow it. So sometimes the judges do allow it, because if you remember from the Court of Appeal, there's actually a video of the Lord Chief Justice delivering the result of the appeal. There's a 2-minute video of him. So that was obviously taken inside a court. So it can be done. They can allow photography in courts. But there is this blanket ban on all photography inside court buildings and their precincts. And that was what they did Tommy on in Canterbury. So it wasn't the Contempt of Court Act that was cited as what he was found guilty of. So what does that mean for Ezra taking a picture inside the building looking out? Well, unless he got permission, and I don't know anything about the circumstances, yeah, he violated the same rule that Tommy did in Canterbury. But if you go read the Canterbury judgment, you can see that they only found him guilty under the don't take a photograph, because what happened was he was live streaming just like I'm doing now. And as he was live streaming, he went up the steps into the foyer and then back out onto the street again. And so there wasn't enough in what he had said to make it an easy case, or a case that you know. So what did the judge do? She used the technicality that for a second or two he had stepped into the foyer and was still filming. He had shown nothing that he shouldn't have shown. You know, it was a close-up of his face, just like I'm doing with the background. But that was enough. And that was enough for 3 months, which is unprecedented in the world of journalism in Britain, because she gave him a 3-month sentence, even though it was suspended. Now, what will they do to Ezra? I don't know. But, there are none of the other surrounding circumstances of contempt. Has a juror ever taken an Instagram selfie inside the jury waiting room in the Old Bailey? I suspect they have. I bet if I went and searched really hard, I'd find some selfies taken inside the court precincts. When I did my jury service in the Old Bailey, it was pre-cell phones. Well, not quite pre-cell phones, but certainly before smartphones. And it was before Instagram and most of what we think of today as the internet. I remember reading a Tom Wolfe book. I can't remember which one, but it was very long and I finished it all in 2 weeks. Has nobody ever taken a selfie inside the Royal Courts of Justice? I bet they have. And so if the police and the Crown Prosecution Service or the court or the judge in this case is going to say that this constitutes a significant contempt of court that they should prosecute a Canadian citizen for, well, he'll get no help from Trudeau, I'm sure that, because Trudeau would love to see Ezra Levant banged up in Britain. I think he'd be dancing in the streets, but it would be a hell of a stretch for the owner of a media company to be arrested for taking an innocuous short video and a video from a window in a court in Britain. Probably, yes, it's a technical violation of this 1921 law, but I think the British people need to start saying, why the hell are courts in Britain surrounded by so much secrecy? Why are you not allowed to see what goes on inside courts? Why is photographs not allowed, especially in the lobby? Britain, take a look at the secret police state that you are becoming. If you want to convict and imprison a Canadian citizen, even one as hated as Ezra Levant is in Canada, because he stands up to the government there too. Anyway, good luck, Ezra. I hope you're okay on this. Nothing would surprise me if they really come after you for this. It wouldn't surprise me, but it would be just another nail in the coffin of all forms of freedom and self-expression in Britain. All right, thanks very much. I'm Brian of London. I'm here in Tel Aviv. And have a great weekend, everybody.